A few weeks ago in early June, I visited Six Flags Over Georgia for the first time. The park impressed me, but the coaster lineup was surprising. I had quite a few unique opinions that other enthusiasts don't share. The coaster lineup was well-rounded and had quite a few great coasters, but also had a couple terrible rides. These are my rankings of the coasters of the Six Flags Over Georgia amusement park. Before we get into it, I would like to say that Batman was closed during my visit. Even though I experienced a clone at Six Flags St. Louis, I will not be including it on the list, as I've heard it is the best one. Also, comment your opinions down below. I would love to hear them. Let's get into it. Number 10, Dahlonega Mine Train. The good old mine train coaster. Mine trains are always family coasters, but I don't even think a family can enjoy this brutal ride. Dahlonega Mine Train is my worst ranking mine train yet, even below River King at Six Flags St. Louis. This ride is even smaller and jerkier than River King. Each turn provides harsh jolts into the hard aero seats. You can even see in POVs how jerky this ride is. While the setting is better, some parts could use some work. For example, the turn after the second lift is just in a pile of dirt. While the ending is intense, it is way too rough to enjoy. I think it would be a bad starter coaster due to the roughness, which is what it's meant to be. I get it's for families, but for coaster enthusiasts like myself, it's not for me. Number 9, Blue Hawk. This is the first thrill coaster on the list, and it definitely shot under my expectations. I've heard that this ride is intense, has good head choppers, and is smooth with the vest restraints. Unfortunately, only the head choppers part is true. This ride, even with vests, was brutal. Every inversion either knocks your head around or hits your head hard in the seat back due to the tight inversion. The latter is true about the butterfly inversion. While the setting is pretty, it's hard to enjoy while you're in this much pain. As for the intensity, there's only one part of weak positives during the butterfly, which is again, hard to enjoy due to the jerkiness. The only positive is that it doesn't get a weight and has some incredible head choppers. Number 8, Joker's Funhouse Coaster. The kiddie coaster of the park ranks above 2 thrill coasters. This is by far the best kiddie coaster. Yes, it's still a kiddie coaster, but it has a surprisingly intense helix in the dark with some speed. I was pleasantly surprised by this kiddie coaster, and this is absolutely a good starter to get kids on the true coaster experience. I highly recommend riding this for a quick break while still providing thrills. Number 7, Georgia Scorcher. This is another ride that shot under my expectations. I've heard countless enthusiasts saying that this is the best stand-up other than Riddler, and I thought it might be true. Imagine my surprise getting off when I thought Carowinds' Vortex was better. Georgia Scorcher tries to be a floorless coaster, but with stand-up trains. It's just uncomfortable, especially for boys. Something that I wasn't expecting was a very strong rattle on every turn, which wasn't present on Vortex. The ride has a good layout and is pretty intense, but there are better coasters in the park. Number 6, Great American Scream Machine. Unlike the last few rides, Great American Scream Machine greatly exceeded my expectations. This might have been for the recent retracking, which I got to experience a week after it opened. This was the smoothest PTC I've ridden yet, and while the airtime wasn't as strong as Racer, there sure was a lot of it. The new paint job looks beautiful over the water. Every hill provided some weak floater, but for a long time. And while the ride is smooth, it still has the classic PTC rumble that makes these classic Woodies. Great American Scream Machine shouldn't be hated on anymore. Number 5, Riddler Mindbender. This coaster was built back in 1978, which makes it even crazier that it accomplishes this smooth of a terrain layout. There are no rough patches in this Schwarzkopf. I was pleasantly surprised by the intensity of the ride. I grayed out on both loops on both of my rides. The intensity wasn't the only strong part. The ride was incredibly thrilling with its surprise drops and tight turns. There's even an airtime pop in the front into the first turnaround. It even dives near a waterfall. I highly recommend experiencing this classic coaster. Number 4, Daredevil Dive. What a funky little coaster. A vertical lift hill is always thrilling, but that is just the beginning of this short little coaster. This might be the smoothest coaster I've experienced. There is no vibration at all, and the restraints are very comfortable. After the drop, which feels like a holding brake on top, the ride enters a very whippy dive loop. The whole ride whips around each corner, especially evident on the following Immelman. After the mid-course, the ride kind of dies through 2 turns, but has a hang-time-filled ending, which ends the little coaster with a bang. Don't sleep on Daredevil Dive. It's a whippy and intense ride. Number 3, Superman Ultimate Flight. I don't usually get scared of coasters, but this was the freakiest coaster experience of my life. Unlike the Vekoma Flyers, this B&M is much more open and comfortable, causing for a more enjoyable but also much more intense experience. While the ride is graceful, the pretzel loop really amps it up. Riders flip onto their backs looking straight up and get pushed down onto their stomach. Guests then flip back normally, looking straight down on their stomachs. Unlike the other Superman clones, this one gets really close to rugged terrain, so riders are only a few feet from touching rocks. The ride ends with a bang through a quick but graceful inline twist. Superman is an intimidating but incredible experience. This is where it gets controversial. It's between Goliath and Twisted Cyclone, two incredible rides. My number 2 in the park, though, is Twisted Cyclone. This ride is only about 25 seconds long, but it packs a huge punch. The drop already teases riders by going in a different direction, before going through, in my opinion, the weakest part of the ride. These inversions don't really do a lot. But after that, the ride is relentless. After a wave turn on the structure causing some great floater, the ride goes through tons of quick ejector pops that are incredibly strong. These might be stronger than some of Skyrush's hills. There's also a tight barrel roll and overbank that are pretty intense. But that's it. Twisted Cyclone is amazing, but I feel like it is missing some length and some bigger elements. I get it is supposed to be tightly packed, but I feel like Goliath is the better ride. Goliath packs everything Twisted Cyclone had, except the inversions, into a bigger and longer experience. This hyper is the most intense hyper I've experienced. It has the massive floater hills that provide the best airtime I've experienced on a hyper, but it also has ridiculously tight valleys and a super tight helix that causes riders to gray out for a good 10 seconds. It has sustained positives the whole way through, and after the halfway point, it is never-ending airtime hills, which are borderline ejector. It even has a lateral filled turn into a speed hill at the very end of the ride. Goliath is a bigger and better Twisted Cyclone, but it really depends on what you like. If you want more relentless and whippy rides, Twisted Cyclone is your ride. But if you want a longer, bigger, faster, and airtime-packed ride, Goliath is the one for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment your rankings down below and have a great rest of your day.